It's swelling so fast. The maid lifted her skirt to treat an injury the billionaire could not imagine. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. And now, let us return to our main character. The rain had been falling for hours, turning the backyard deck into a slick sheet of dark, shining wood. The wind pushed against the tall glass doors, and the outdoor lights flickered under the storm. Inside the enormous house, everything was polished, quiet, and perfectly arranged. Everything except the small utility room where Mia wiped down the last counter from her shift. It was her second week working here. She still moved carefully, like every step might disturb something she could not afford to break. The house belonged to someone wealthy, obviously, but she had never seen the owner up close. Her tasks were handled through supervisors, schedules, and notes on the kitchen island. That distance made the job easier. Less dangerous. Less personal. Exactly what she needed right now. She tied the trash bag, slipped on her shoes, and headed toward the back door. The storm growled outside. Mia hugged her thin cardigan tighter. She had one last job before going home. Quick, simple, nothing dramatic. She pushed through the rear entrance, stepped into the covered patio, and lifted the trash bag toward the bin. Then she froze. A loud thud echoed through the rain, followed by a sharp, muffled curse. Mia spun around. Someone had slipped on the top step of the deck. Someone tall, dressed in a dark button-down shirt now splattered with dirt and rain. He was gripping his knee hard, his jaw tight, eyes squeezed shut. Water ran down his hair and face. He looked pained, stunned, and furious all at once. Mia dropped the trash bag and rushed toward him. Sir, do not move. Your knee is swelling really fast. You need to sit down, right now. He blinked at her as if he did not understand how she had appeared there, but the pain told him she was right. Mia grabbed his arm, helping him lower himself onto the wooden step. The moment he sat, the swelling became more visible beneath the wet fabric. Mia's breath caught. This was bad. Very bad. She glanced around, searching for anything she could use. Nothing. The rain had washed the entire deck clean. Without hesitating, she lifted the edge of her work skirt, reached underneath, and ripped out a strip from the inner lining. It was not graceful, but it worked. She balled the fabric in her hand, then pressed it firmly around his knee to slow the swelling. The man stared at her, half startled, half confused, fully unprepared for a maid kneeling in the rain, sacrificing part of her uniform to treat him with a level of urgency and skill she should not logically possess. Why are you doing this? He asked, his voice rough from pain. Because you are hurt, Mia said, tightening the fabric again. And we do not have time to wait. Her fingers were trembling, not from fear, but from the cold cutting through her thin cardigan. Rain soaked her shoulders, the wind pushing harder across the deck. Still, she held on to his leg with steady pressure, breathing carefully, focusing on the swelling. The man watched her, his breathing slowing just a little. Something in his expression shifted, not anger, not annoyance, but disbelief. A maid should have panicked. A maid should have yelled for someone else. A maid should not have known what she was doing. But Mia did. Okay, she whispered, adjusting the improvised bandage. We need ice, compression, and elevation. Can you stand, or do we need help? He exhaled, somewhere between impressed and overwhelmed. I can try, he muttered. But I am not sure. Mia slid her arm under his, bracing him against the railing as he rose slowly. She did not notice the way he looked at her then, like she was something he did not expect to find in his own house on a night like this. In truth, neither of them knew it yet, but this single moment would change everything. The storm eased by morning, but the chill stayed in the air. Mia arrived at the mansion early, expecting another quiet shift. She kept replaying the moment from last night in her head. The man she helped was clearly the homeowner, but no one had ever given his name. She wondered if he would even remember her, or if what she did was simply a footnote in his world of wealth and polished hallways. Inside, the estate felt colder than usual. The supervisor was not around, and the house was strangely silent. Mia tied her apron, gathered her supplies, and moved through the living room. She tried to focus on her tasks, but her mind kept drifting back to the sound of his pain, the shock in his eyes, the way he asked why she helped him. That question had stayed with her all night. Halfway down the hall, she froze. A soft groan came from the front foyer. She hurried toward it. The man from last night, the same tall figure with dark hair and sharp features, was attempting to limp across the marble floor, one hand gripping the edge of a console table. His knee was twice the size it was before. The swelling had grown worse overnight. His voice was low, strained. "Do not tell me you are the only one working today." Mia blinked. Startled, he even recognized her. "Sir, you should not be walking on that leg. You need support." He tried to take another step. His foot slipped on the polished floor, and he inhaled sharply. Mia rushed toward him and caught his arm before he could fall. For a moment, the house was completely still. He looked down at her hands on his sleeve, then back up at her face. There was frustration there, but beneath it, something softer. Something human. "You again," he murmured. "You need medical attention," Mia insisted. "Your knee cannot take this." "I have a meeting," he said. "I cannot miss it." Mia stared at him, genuinely confused. "You cannot even stand properly." He exhaled, jaw clenched, pride fighting common sense. It was a very American type of stubbornness, the kind of independence that refused help even when help was needed the most. Mia steadied him with both hands. "Let me get ice in your phone. You cannot go anywhere like this. At least tell someone what happened." He sighed heavily, as if surrendering to reality felt painful in a different way. "My phone is in the living room." Mia guided him there slowly, step by step, keeping his weight balanced. When they reached the couch, he lowered himself down with a grimace. Mia hurried to the kitchen and returned with a sealed bag of ice wrapped in a towel. She knelt beside him and set the ice gently on his knee. For the first time, the strain in his expression eased. "Thank you," he said quietly. Mia checked the swelling and glanced at him. "You need to rest for at least a day, maybe 2. If you walk too much, you could tear something." He studied her the way someone might study an unexpected variable in a familiar equation. "You seem to know a lot for someone in your position." Mia paused, unsure how much to reveal. "I had to learn," she said at last. "Someone in my family needed help once, and I was the only person there. After that, I took a few first aid classes. It just became something I do." He nodded slowly, as if the puzzle pieces of her behavior were starting to make sense. A loud vibration broke the moment. His phone lit up beside him. The name flashing across the screen made Mia's breath catch. "Board meeting reminder, Donovan Tech headquarters." That was when Mia realized the truth. She had not just patched up an ordinary man. She had wrapped a torn piece of her uniform around the knee of Cole Donovan, the extremely private billionaire whose company was on the news nearly every week. Her heartbeat stumbled. Her hands stilled. He noticed the shift in her expression. "So," he said quietly, "now you know who I am." Mia swallowed hard. "Yes, I guess I do." He looked away for a moment, almost embarrassed by the attention his title brought. "Do not treat me differently," he said. "I do not like that." Mia steadied her voice. "Then let me say this the same way I said it before. You need help. Whether you are a billionaire or a neighbor down the street, you cannot walk on this." Cole let out a slow breath, almost a laugh, almost disbelief. "You really are something," he murmured. The rain outside softened into a gentle patter. In the quiet house, Mia adjusted the ice pack and tried not to think about how impossible this moment felt. Before last night, she was just another maid trying to survive. Now she had stepped into the orbit of a man whose entire world operated far above her own. And neither of them understood yet how quickly their lives were about to collide again. The morning passed slowly, thick with the kind of uneasy quiet that made every sound feel louder. Mia stayed close by, checking on Cole every few minutes while pretending to continue her chores. She was careful not to overstep, careful not to look too long at him, careful not to show how knowing his identity had altered something inside her. She wanted to leave things exactly as they were, simple, professional, distant, but fate had other plans. By noon, Cole moved from the couch to the large armchair near the window, trying to shift his weight without looking like he was struggling. He picked up his tablet, attempting to work, but every few minutes he winced, his legs stiff and uncooperative. Mia finally spoke up. "Sir, you really should not sit like that for too long. The swelling needs elevation." He gave a dry, humorless smile. "If I elevate it any higher, it will be above my head." Mia shook her head, almost laughing. You know what I mean. Cole shifted again, clearly uncomfortable. Fine. What do you suggest? Move to the sectional sofa, she said. There is more room. I can help you adjust the pillows. He raised an eyebrow, but he did not argue. All right. Mia helped him stand, and they made their slow, careful way to the massive sectional. When she positioned the pillows and guided him to lean back, he finally exhaled with relief. The tension in his shoulders eased. Better? She asked. Much, he admitted. For a moment, they simply looked at each other. Not as maid and employer. Not as billionaire and working-class girl. Just two people thrown together by an accident neither of them expected. But the moment did not last. His phone buzzed again. The screen lit up with an avalanche of messages from executives, board members, and assistants. The pressure in his expression returned instantly. Mia stepped back. You should answer. They sound important. They are, he said. But I cannot walk into the building like this. Then, after a beat, I cannot let them see me like this. There was something raw in his voice, something unguarded. Mia realized then that this man, so guarded and distant, was not afraid of pain. He was afraid of vulnerability. She nodded slowly. What if you do not go anywhere today? What if the meeting can be moved online? Cole looked at her, almost startled by the simplicity of the idea. It is not that simple, he said. Maybe it is, she replied gently. Sometimes people respect honesty more than strength. Cole laughed under his breath, not mocking her, but surprised. You really are not afraid to speak your mind. I am afraid, Mia admitted. But honesty is easier than regret. He stared at her a long moment. Then he reached for his phone. When he opened the video call, Mia quietly shifted back toward the kitchen, giving him space. But before she stepped away completely, she heard his voice, calm, controlled, authoritative. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I need to clarify that I will be joining remotely due to an injury at home. There was a burst of questions on the other end of the call. Cole held up a hand. It is under control, he said, and it will not affect today's decisions. Mia could not help but smile. He had listened. Maybe only a little, but enough to bend the weight of his pride. The meeting went on for almost an hour. Mia stayed out of sight, dusting the shelves at the far end of the room. But she could hear the tone of his voice change throughout the call, stronger, steadier, more grounded than before. It was as if admitting weakness had somehow made him more composed. When it finally ended, Cole leaned his head back against the sofa and closed his eyes. He looked exhausted, not physically, but mentally. Mia approached him quietly. Do you need anything? He opened his eyes. You did not have to stay during the meeting. I know, Mia replied. I just wanted to be nearby, in case the pain got worse. He studied her again, that same careful, thoughtful way. You are very different from what I expected when I hired a housekeeping service. I just try to do the right thing, Mia said softly. Cole let out a slow breath. What if I told you I am not used to people doing the right thing without wanting something in return? Mia looked down at her hands. Then maybe you have been looking in the wrong places. For a moment, the room was quiet. Then Cole lifted the edge of the makeshift bandage around his knee. You know, he said gently, I think your emergency fix saved me from a hospital visit. Mia gave a tiny smile. That is what I was hoping for. As the afternoon sunlight spread across the room, something shifted between them. Not romance. Not yet. But trust. Fragile, unexpected, quietly forming. A trust that would soon be tested far more than either of them realized. The rest of the afternoon moved quietly, the storm clouds fading into a pale evening sky. The mansion's large windows glowed with warm light as the day settled into a calm hum. Mia finished wiping down the kitchen counters and stepped into the living room to check on Cole one more time. He was sitting more upright now, his legs still elevated, a blanket draped over him that he definitely did not choose himself. He glanced at her with the kind of tired look that said he had been thinking too much. You are still here, he said. You should not be left alone when you can barely move, Mia replied gently. Besides, I still have a little time before my shift ends. Cole nodded, then motioned toward the armchair across from him. Sit. You have been walking all day. Mia hesitated. Sitting with the owner felt wrong somehow, like crossing a line she was not supposed to cross. But his tone was not commanding. It was human, and tired. She finally sat, keeping a respectful distance. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Cole broke the silence. I have a question. Last night, Why were you outside during the storm? Most people would have waited until morning to take out the trash. Mia folded her hands in her lap. I needed to finish my tasks on time. I cannot risk losing this job. Every hour counts. His gaze sharpened slightly. Because of your family? She nodded once. My mother has medical bills. I send most of my paycheck to her in New Mexico. It is the only way she can continue her treatment. I do not have many options. Cole leaned back, absorbing that. Do they know how much you are doing for them? I do not want them to worry, Mia said softly. They already have enough to carry. Cole stayed quiet for a long time. His expression shifted in a way Mia had not seen before, less guarded, more reflective. Finally, he said, when my father got sick, I tried to handle everything alone. Too. I worked through nights, skipped sleep, and pretended I was fine because I thought that made me strong. But it just isolated me. I lost a lot of moments I can never get back. Mia looked at him, surprised by the honesty. People say vulnerability is weakness, Cole continued quietly. But sometimes the strongest thing is letting someone help. The words hung between them. They were delicate and real, and they sounded like something he did not tell many people. But before Mia could respond, a sharp knocking broke the moment. Both turned toward the front door. Cole stiffened immediately. I did not schedule any visitors, he muttered. Mia stood. I will go check. She walked through the foyer, opened the heavy door a crack, and found a sharply dressed man with a sleek briefcase tucked under his arm. His posture was confident, polished, and patient. Is Mr. Donovan home? The man asked. I am here for the afternoon briefing. Mia blinked. She had not heard about any meeting. And judging from Cole's leg, he definitely was not in any condition to hold one. Before she could speak, the man pushed slightly against the door. I will take that as a yes. I will speak with him now. His tone was clipped, dismissive, like she was invisible. Mia stepped in front of him and raised a hand. I am sorry, but he is not available. He is recovering from an injury and cannot take meetings today. The man scoffed. Recovering? Mr. Donovan does not cancel meetings. Ever. Mia stood her ground. He is injured. He needs rest. The man narrowed his eyes at her. And you are? His house staff, Mia replied evenly. He smirked, the expression dripping with superiority. Then you are not qualified to decide anything about his schedule. Now step aside. Before Mia could answer, Cole's voice echoed sharply from behind her. That is enough. The man straightened immediately. Mia stepped aside as Cole limped forward, his weight supported by the couch arm. Mr. Donovan, the visitor began. You have missed 2 calls already. We need to finalize the merger details before. Cole lifted a hand, stopping him cold. I am not discussing business today, Cole said. Reschedule everything. The man looked genuinely stunned. Sir? The board is expecting, I said reschedule. The finality in his voice left no room for argument. The visitor swallowed hard, nodded stiffly, and retreated toward the door without another word. Mia closed it behind him. When she turned back, Cole was watching her with a complicated expression. You did not let him push past you, Cole said quietly. He was being rude, Mia replied. Cole laughed under his breath. Most people let him get away with it. Most people are not responsible for your recovery, Mia said. I just did what was right. Cole looked at her as if seeing her in a new light. Someone steady, someone brave, someone who was not afraid to stand between him and the world when he needed it most. He exhaled slowly. You know, I am starting to think you may be the only person in this house who actually tells me the truth. Mia gave a small, gentle smile. Sometimes the truth is what a person needs the most. Neither of them knew it yet, but this moment, the girl who stood up to a high-powered executive for a billionaire who could barely stand, was the beginning of something deeper. Something neither of them was prepared for. The next morning arrived with a soft brightness, the kind of sunlight that made the mansion look less intimidating and more like an ordinary home. Mia entered quietly, expecting Cole to still be resting, but she found him already awake on the sectional sofa, his leg propped up exactly the way she had instructed. He glanced over as she set down her cleaning supplies. Morning, he said, voice low but steadier than yesterday. Good morning, Mia replied. How is the swelling? He lifted the ice pack slightly. Better, I think. I can bend it a little. Do not push it, Mia warned gently. You are still healing. Cole gave a small nod, then looked toward the front door. I am guessing you heard the commotion yesterday. The board was not happy about my canceled meetings. I figured, Mia said. But people will survive one day without you. Cole let out a quiet laugh. That is not how they see it. Mia moved toward him with a fresh towel and another ice pack. Maybe that is the problem, she said softly. He studied her face, thoughtful, almost surprised by how easily she voiced truths others around him avoided. Mia knelt beside him and replaced the old ice pack. His breath hitched slightly at the cold, but he said nothing, watching her. With a strange intensity, curiosity mixed with gratitude. You are very calm about all of this, Cole said. Most employees panic when they learn who I am. Mia glanced up. I am not afraid of titles, Mr. Donovan. They do not change the fact that you are a person who needs help. Cole's expression softened in a way that made him seem years younger, less weighted by power and responsibility. Call me Cole, he said quietly. Mia hesitated. That does not feel appropriate. It is appropriate if I say it is, he replied. Besides, you have seen me at my worst. At that point, names are just names. Mia gave a tiny smile. All right, Cole. The moment lingered in the warm room, but it was interrupted by the buzz of his phone on the coffee table. Cole reached for it and frowned. What is wrong? Mia asked. He hesitated before answering. My assistant forwarded me a report. Apparently, someone from the oversight committee is asking why I canceled meetings and whether my physical condition affects the merger timeline. Mia's stomach tightened. Are they allowed to question you like that? They are allowed to question anything that affects investor confidence, he said. Which means I need to appear in the office as soon as possible. Mia stood quickly. No, you can barely walk. Cole braced his hands on the sofa, trying to stand. I will manage. You will injure yourself worse, Mia insisted. And then you will miss far more meetings than one. Cole paused. She was right, and he knew it. But the weight of responsibility sat heavy on him. Then what do you suggest? He asked quietly. Mia took a breath, steady and sincere. You need a few more days of recovery. If the merger is important, you should explain the truth. You were injured. You are being treated. There is no shame in that. Cole stared at her like he had never heard someone say those words before. People do not accept weakness in my position. Then show them strength, Mia replied, by choosing honesty. Her words landed deeper than she realized. Cole lowered himself back onto the cushions, rubbing his forehead. I do not know why I am listening to you, he murmured. Mia gave him a gentle look. Because you know I am not trying to take anything from you. He met her eyes for a moment, long enough to reveal something unspoken, something fragile. I need to file some footage for the director's review, Cole finally said. They want visual confirmation that I am recovering. I can help you record it, Mia offered. He blinked. You would do that? You need support, she said simply. And I am here. They moved to the brighter part of the living room. Mia held the phone steady while Cole sat tall, speaking with the calm authority expected of someone in his position. But there was a difference in his tone now, something grounded, sincere, no longer strained by the urge to hide. When the recording ended, he exhaled slowly. That was easier than I expected. It is easier when you stop fighting the truth, Mia said. Cole looked at her again, long enough that she felt warmth rise in her chest. Just then, a loud knock echoed through the house. Mia and Cole both turned toward the front door. The voice on the other side was sharp, irritated, and unmistakably familiar. Mr. Donovan, open up. We need to talk. Now. It was the same man from yesterday. Cole's jaw tightened. Mia stepped forward instinctively, as if ready to shield him again. Neither of them knew it yet, but the person waiting on the other side of that door was about to disrupt everything they had begun to build. The knocking grew harder, echoing through the foyer like a warning. Cole inhaled sharply, bracing himself. Mia moved closer to him without thinking, as if she had become a quiet barrier between him and whatever pressure stood outside. I will get it, she whispered. Cole nodded once, jaw tight. Mia walked to the front door and opened it just enough to see the sharply dressed man from yesterday. His expression was even colder now, his impatience sharpened into something almost hostile. I need to see Mr. Donovan immediately, he said. Mia kept her voice calm. He is recovering. If you have business matters, you can email him. The man stepped forward, face tense. I am Miles Carter, Chief Operations Director. I do not take instructions from house staff. Move aside. Before Mia could respond, Cole's voice came from behind her. She is not house staff. She is someone I trust. Watch your tone. Miles looked stunned for a moment, clearly not expecting Cole to defend anyone, especially not an employee. He glanced between them, then forced a professional smile. My apologies, sir. But you have avoided 2 conference calls and a crucial briefing. Investors are asking questions. I need to know what is going on. Cole moved forward slowly, gripping the frame of the doorway. Mia stayed beside him just in case he lost balance, but he held himself steady. What is going on, Cole said firmly, is that I was injured. I am recovering. That is the truth. Miles looked at him as if that explanation was unacceptable. Sir, with all respect, this merger is time-sensitive. If the board doubts your ability to lead at this moment, Cole cut him off with a sharp lift of his hand. My ability does not vanish because of a sprain. Miles hesitated, then shifted his gaze toward Mia again, irritation leaking through the cracks of his polished demeanor. And why exactly is she here during a confidential discussion? Cole's voice cooled. She was here when the injury happened. She has been helping with my recovery. That is all you need to know. Miles narrowed his eyes. So she is involved. Involved is not the word, Cole replied. She is assisting me. Mia shifted uncomfortably. She hated being talked about like she was not standing right there, but she kept her expression neutral. Miles exhaled sharply, then lowered his voice. Sir, the directors are already on edge. If they sense instability, they may push to delay your authority over the merger. Some of them have been waiting for a chance to challenge your leadership. Mia felt Cole's posture tighten. This was not just business pressure. This was a threat. Cole rubbed his forehead, frustration tightening every line of his face. I will join remotely later today, but right now I need rest. Miles looked like he wanted to argue, but he finally stepped back. Very well, but please understand that your absence has consequences. Cole held his gaze. I am aware. Miles nodded stiffly, turned, and left without another word. The moment the door closed, Cole let out a slow breath, leaning heavily against the frame. Mia stepped closer. Are you all right? Yes, Cole said quietly, though his voice shook with more than pain. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. Rumors, doubt, power games. Mia guided him back toward the sofa. Then let us focus on what you can control right now. Cole sank into the cushions and rubbed his knee gently. What I can control, he repeated slowly. That sounds simple. Sometimes simple is exactly what a person needs, Mia said. Cole looked at her then, really looked, his expression softer than she had ever seen. I am not used to someone standing up for me, he said. Not like that. Mia shook her head. I only told the truth. You were in no condition for visitors. Anyone could see that. But no one ever says it, Cole replied quietly. People protect their careers, their positions, their access. You protected me. Mia's breath caught for a brief moment. I just did what was right. Cole lowered his gaze, thinking deeply. You know, when Miles looked at you, I realized something. He is used to treating everyone around me like tools, pawns. But you stood your ground, and I cannot remember the last time someone did that. Mia felt warmth rise in her chest, but forced herself to stay steady. Power can make people forget their manners. That does not mean you have to accept it. Cole smiled faintly. You say that like it is easy. It is not easy, Mia said. But fairness matters. Even at the top. Cole took a long breath, letting her words sink in. Then he leaned back, his voice softer. Mia, if you were not here these past 2 days, I think everything would have fallen apart. I do not believe that, she said. You handle more than most people could. But I am still just a person, he replied. And it feels like you are the only one who sees that. Silence filled the room, but it was a warm silence, steady, safe. Then Mia spoke quietly. I will stay until your swelling goes down. After that, I will step back. I do not want to cause trouble for you. Cole opened his eyes again, meeting hers. You are not the trouble, Mia. And the way he said it, slow, certain, almost vulnerable, sent a quiet shift through the space between them. Neither of them noticed how close they had moved. Neither noticed how natural it felt. But something deep was forming, beneath the surface of fear, pride, and power. Something neither of them was ready to name yet, but both of them felt. The door had barely closed behind Miles before the house fell into a weighted silence. Cole lowered himself onto the sectional sofa with slow, careful movements. The effort alone showed how much the confrontation had drained him. Mia stayed close, ready to steady him if he slipped. He let out a long breath. I knew the board would react, but not this quickly. Mia placed the fresh ice pack on his knee. Pressure makes people impatient. That does not mean you have to let them control you. Cole gave a tired laugh. You say that like it is easy. It is not easy, Mia replied softly. But you need space to heal. A few days of recovery does not erase everything you have built. Cole looked at her with an expression she had not seen from him before. Something raw, something searching. You defended me twice now, he said quietly. First last night, then with Miles. What? Mia hesitated for only a second. Because you are hurt. Because someone should stand up for you when you cannot stand by yourself. Cole studied her face, as if trying to understand a language he was not used to hearing. No one has said that to me in years. Mia did not know what to say to that, so she checked the bandage instead, making sure the compression was steady. Cole watched her hands with a kind of quiet gratitude. After a moment, he spoke again. People around me are used to power. They respond to status, to money, to fear. But you look at me and see an actual person. That is all you are, Mia said. A person who pushed himself too far and needs a break. Cole smiled faintly. Do you talk to all your employers like this? Only the stubborn ones. That earned a soft, genuine laugh from him, one that reached his eyes. The moment stretched into a stillness that felt warm rather than heavy. But it did not last long. Cole's phone buzzed again. The screen showed a message from another director demanding updates. Mia saw the tension return to his shoulders. You do not have to answer that right now, she said. If I ignore it, they will make assumptions, Cole replied. Then tell them the truth, Mia said. Tell them you are injured but stable. Show them you are still in control. Cole leaned back slowly, considering her words. For a man used to carrying everything alone, the idea of choosing transparency felt strangely foreign. You really think honesty will work? He asked. I think honesty is stronger than pretending, Mia said. Cole nodded, almost reluctantly. All right, I will join the next call. But I need help setting up. I can help, Mia offered immediately. He looked up at her, surprised but relieved. You are sure? Yes, she said. You should not be alone while you are like this. Together they moved to his office. Mia positioned the camera while Cole prepared himself, adjusting his posture even though his leg protested. When the call connected, he spoke clearly, calmly, explaining his situation without hiding his injury. And something changed. He looked confident again, grounded, human, but strong. When the call ended, Cole turned to Mia, a trace of disbelief in his eyes. That actually went well. Of course it did, Mia said. People respond better when you let them see the truth. Cole exhaled, the tension easing from his face. You make things sound simple. Sometimes simple is the hardest thing, she replied. He held her gaze, a quiet warmth settling between them. Mia, he said softly, I am glad you are here. She felt her breath catch, but she stayed steady. I am here to help you recover. That is all. Cole nodded, but something in his expression suggested he felt more than that. Something he was not ready to say. And as the afternoon light spilled across the floors of the mansion, both of them sensed it. A shift, subtle yet unmistakable. A connection neither expected and neither could ignore anymore. The house grew quieter as late afternoon settled in. The sunlight dimmed, stretching long shadows across the floors. Mia finished tidying the office where Cole had taken his video meeting, then moved back into the living room. She expected Cole to be resting, but instead she found him sitting tensely on the sectional sofa, staring at his phone with a troubled expression. Is everything all right? Mia asked. Cole looked up slowly. I wish I could say yes. Mia stepped closer. What happened? He handed her the phone. It displayed an internal memo, one that was short but pointed. A director had forwarded it to several senior members of the company. Asterisk, Mr. Donovan may not be physically capable of overseeing the merger. We should consider appointing temporary oversight to ensure stability. Asterisk, Mia felt her stomach drop. They are trying to replace you? Cole nodded once. They see an injury as an opportunity. That is unfair, Mia said. You have been leading this company for years. A few days of recovery does not justify this. Cole leaned back, rubbing the side of his forehead. It is not about fairness. It is about leverage. Some of them have wanted more control for a long time. Mia felt anger rising in her chest, something sharp and protective. So they want to use your injury to push you aside? Cole sighed. Yes. And if they succeed, everything my team has built could shift into the wrong hands. Mia set his phone down gently. Then do not let them. Cole looked at her with a mixture of frustration and exhaustion. I cannot even walk without pain. They know that. They think I am vulnerable. You are injured, Mia corrected, not weak. Those words landed harder than she expected. For a moment, Cole just stared at her, his expression softening. But the moment shattered with the sudden buzz of the intercom panel near the door. Mia and Cole both turned toward it. A voice came through, crisp and cold. Security check. We need Mr. Donovan to confirm entry for an internal review. Cole frowned. That makes no sense. Security does not do internal checks without notice. Mia felt something uneasy settle in her chest. Who would come unannounced? I do not know, Cole said. But I do not like it. Mia moved toward the front hallway, but Cole called after her. Mia, wait. Do not open it yet. She turned back. What should we do? Cole reached for the remote to access the camera feed. When the screen lit up, Mia saw Miles standing outside with two other men she did not recognize. They wore suits, but their posture was rigid, authoritative in a way that felt out of place for an afternoon visit. Cole's expression darkened. This is not a security check. This is pressure. Mia felt her heartbeat quicken. Are they here to force you into a meeting? More than that, Cole muttered. They want to document my condition. They want proof that I am unfit. Mia stepped closer to the screen. You cannot let them inside. They will twist everything. Cole nodded, jaw tightening. Exactly. The intercom buzzed again, louder this time, followed by Miles's impatient voice. Mr. Donovan, open the door. We need to verify your status immediately. Mia looked at Cole, worry tightening her chest. What do we do? Cole took a deep breath. We do nothing. We stay right here. They have no authority to enter my home without my consent. Mia's voice lowered. What if they push harder? Cole held her gaze. Then I will handle it. But Mia could see the tension in his eyes. The fear he did not want to admit. The anger at being cornered in his own home. She moved beside him, her voice steady. You are not alone, Cole. He looked at her, something vulnerable flickering beneath his guarded expression. Before he could respond, the knocking turned into pounding. Mia's breath caught. Cole straightened his shoulders, as much as his injury allowed. The conflict he had been avoiding had finally come to his front door. The pounding on the front door grew louder, sharper, echoing through the mansion like a threat. Mia stood frozen for a moment, then turned toward Cole. His jaw tightened, but he kept his voice steady. They cannot come in unless I allow it, Cole said. No matter what title they use. Mia nodded, though her heart was beating fast. Then we do not answer. Another round of pounding shook the doorframe. Miles's voice followed, clipped and demanding. Mr. Donovan, if you refuse to open this door, we will report your lack of cooperation to the board. This is an internal emergency review. Cole exhaled deeply. Emergency review. I am sure that sounds dramatic on paper. Mia stepped closer to him. They want to make you look unstable. Cole's eyes hardened. They want a reason to take control. He tried to stand, but his injured leg buckled instantly, forcing him back onto the sofa. Mia hurried to steady him. You need to stay seated, she said. They cannot see you like this. Cole clenched his teeth, frustrated. Mia, they will twist anything they can. Mia glanced at the camera feed again. Miles and the two suited men were still outside, one of them checking his watch impatiently. Why are they so desperate, she asked. Cole ran a hand through his hair. The merger is huge. Whoever controls it gains influence over the next decade of our company's development. They want that control. Mia turned back toward him. Then you need to be the one who decides what they see. He looked up at her, surprised by her certainty. And what exactly do you propose? Mia took a steady breath. You join a call with them immediately, but not in person, and not from the front door where they can twist your posture or your injury. You present yourself the way you did earlier. Calm, direct, in control. Cole blinked, absorbing her words. And you, Mia continued. Do not let them turn your injury into a reason to doubt your leadership. Show them that you are aware of the situation and that you are managing it. Cole leaned back slightly, thinking. You really believe they will back down? They will back down, Mia said, if you give them nothing to use against you. The pounding started again, harder than before. Mr. Donovan, this is your last warning. Cole exhaled sharply. All right, set up the call. Mia moved quickly to his office and angled the camera so the frame showed only his upper body. No sign of the brace. No sign of the swelling. Cole adjusted himself in the chair, straightened his posture, and locked his expression into something strong and composed. When the call connected, Miles's voice filled the room. Sir, we have been waiting outside. We require verification. Cole interrupted immediately, his tone firm. You do not require entrance into my home. What you require is a statement from me, and you are getting it now. Miles hesitated. But the directors, I am the director, Cole said calmly. And I am informing you that I am recovering, present, and fully capable of overseeing all decisions. The men on the screen exchanged uncertain glances. Cole continued. I have documentation from my physician confirming temporary recovery time. It does not affect my leadership. The merger moves forward. Miles cleared his throat. Then why cancel meetings? Because I chose to, Cole answered. Because leadership sometimes requires prioritizing health to ensure sound judgment. If any member of the board has an issue with that, they may bring it directly to me. Silence filled the call. Mia watched from behind the camera. Cole's voice was steady, every word controlled. Strong, human, honest, and somehow more authoritative than when he hid behind perfect appearances. Miles finally spoke. Very well, Mr. Donovan. We will update the board. Cole ended the call without another word. The moment the screen went dark, he leaned back with a deep exhale. That was a risk. But it worked, Mia said softly. Cole looked at her, and something shifted in his eyes. Something warm, something grateful. It worked, he repeated. Because of you. Mia felt her breath catch, but she steadied herself. You just needed someone to remind you of your own strength. Cole shook his head slowly. No. You reminded me that strength does not mean standing alone. Outside, the pounding stopped. Inside, the tension eased. And for the first time in days, Cole felt a sense of calm. A calm that came from knowing someone was finally in his corner. The house finally settled into a quiet that felt earned. The sunset washed the living room in a soft amber glow as Cole rested back on the sectional sofa, the tension in his shoulders finally beginning to dissolve. Mia stood nearby, watching him with gentle relief. You handled that perfectly, she said. Cole gave a tired, almost amazed laugh. I handled it because you told me the truth. No one has done that for me in a long time. Mia knelt beside the sofa to check the ice pack one last time. The swelling had gone down a little, but the bruise around his knee was still dark and painful to the touch. You need a few more days, she said. But you are healing. Cole nodded slowly. I feel like more than just my knee is healing. Mia looked up at him, unsure what he meant. What do you mean? Cole took a breath, not heavy or pressured, just sincere. I spent years believing I had to be untouchable to earn respect. I thought people only listened to me when I acted like nothing could break me. But you walked into a storm without hesitation. You stood up to a director without flinching. You did not treat me like a title or a wallet. You treated me like a person. Mia felt warmth rise in her chest, soft and unexpected. I only did what anyone with a conscience would do. Cole shook his head gently. No, not everyone would do that. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The room felt calm, safe, almost suspended in time. Then Cole reached for something beside him on the sofa. Mia saw the small strip of fabric she had torn from her skirt the night of the accident, now cleaned, folded neatly, and placed inside a simple frame. You kept this? Mia whispered. Cole nodded. I will keep it as a reminder. Not of the injury, but of the person who stepped in when I needed it most. Mia swallowed, touched in a way she did not expect. You did not have to do that. I wanted to, Cole said. Some symbols matter. He set the frame down gently, then looked at her with a soft steadiness. I want you to stay, not as house staff, not as anything defined by rank. I want you to join my personal team. Officially, I will make sure the position honors your skills, not your job title. Mia blinked, taken aback. Cole, I am not sure I am qualified for something like that. You are qualified, he said firmly. You kept me grounded when everything around me was shaking. That is worth more than any degree. She hesitated, but only for a moment. All right, she said softly. I will stay. Cole exhaled with quiet relief. Good, he whispered. Because I do not think I want to face any of this without you. The last of the sunlight faded across the room, and for the first time since the fall on the rain-soaked deck, the future felt clear again. A billionaire who learned he did not have to stand alone. A young woman who discovered her strength mattered more than her circumstances. Two lives that collided through an accident and stayed connected through truth, courage, and kindness. And somewhere deep inside that quiet, warm space, they both understood this was just the beginning.